These are 2026 book releases that you need to be excited for. Hello my friends, my name is Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things to do with thriller books. Why did I forget that intro? Guys, I'm rusty. Today, we are going to be speaking about some 2026 thriller book releases that have been announced that I can't wait to read. I've got over 20 to tell you about. So I feel like we're going to be here for a while. I'm just going to shut up and get straight into it. Thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video. I hope I tell you about some new books that you might not know about, and let's get straight into it. Okay, I am going to try and do these in date order, but I will put the publication dates on the screen. Just bear in mind that they may be different in the country that you're from. So please check that out. Don't take my absolute word for it. The first one I want to speak to you about is The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. Something about me is I bloody love a storm, like a stormy setting. That's what I feel like when you think of thriller books a lot of the time, that's what you imagine, isn't it? That's the trope that they usually play on. And they've even gone with it with the title in this book. In The Storm, our main character is called Geneva. Geneva works in an infamous hotel, an inn, if you will, in Alabama. Now this inn is infamous because it survived so many hurricanes, but it was also the location of a notorious murder. During her time working in this inn, Geneva meets a woman called Lo. Now Lo was accused of murdering her married lover, she was the side woman, and during a hurricane, she was accused of killing him. But as another hurricane is about to hit, secrets are about to be revealed and grudges resurfaced. This is coming out in January, and I feel like January is the perfect time to read this sort of book. Do you know what I mean? I am a bit of a seasonal reader. At spooky season, I like reading horror books, and then in the winter, I like reading books in isolated settings, extreme weather. Let me know if you're the same. I read The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I want to say, was it last year? I think it was, because it was in my top 10 books of the year, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was incredible. So this is one I'm definitely going to keep my eye on. Okay, don't hate me, but we're going to speak about Colleen Hoover, because Colleen Hoover has just announced that she's got a brand new thriller book coming out in January, and it's called Woman Down. This is actually Colleen Hoover's first thriller book release since Verity, which, when did Verity come out? I feel like it was a long time ago. And I'm not ashamed to admit it, but I bloody love Verity. I know it's a very love-hate book, but I feel like it was the book that really got me back into thrillers when I read it. I think it was in 2021. So I am really excited for this. I know, don't cancel me, but I'm not going to lie. When I first read the blurb of this book, I was like, oh, that's a bit similar to Verity. So let me know if you think this sounds similar. So we meet our main character called Petra. Petra used to be a best-selling novelist. Her words literally says that they used to set the pages on fire. Everybody was obsessed with her, but she recently got cancelled. Does that sound familiar? I feel like that's Colleen Hoover's novelist career, doesn't it? Ever since that happened, she's been very uninspired. She can't write her next book. So she's getting herself into a bit of debt. So she decides with the last bit of money, she's going to book herself in a secluded cabin, and she's going to finish writing her next manuscript in the hopes that it's going to boost her back up the charts. When she gets to this cabin, a detective turns up, and very quickly they form a bond, and Petra starts to see him as her muse. As they start digging into something and researching, Petra starts to blur the lines between fact and fiction and what is actually going on. I do feel like it's giving Verity, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I am intrigued, and it is one that I probably definitely will be reading. Let me know if you'll be picking it up as well. Let me know if you'll be picking up any of these books, actually. Okay, should we talk about one of my favourite authors, Mr. John Mars? Because he's got a book coming out called Dead in the Water, and I've already read it. Me and John Mars are besties. So when he asked me if I wanted a really early copy of it, I was like, oh my God, yes, please. Honestly, I have to pinch myself sometimes. Crazy. In Dead in the Water, the book starts out and our main character is called Damon, and he is a bit drunk. He's with his girlfriend. He's down at the beach, and she dares him to take a swim. I think it's in Brighton. I think Brighton Beach. From there, he ends up very nearly drowning, but his girlfriend's a paramedic and she manages to bring him back to life on the beach. But during the time that he was unconscious and his heart stopped, he sees a little boy, and he tells his girlfriend this and is like, did you see? that little boy. And she's like, what are you on about? You've gone delulu. And he starts to think that this little boy is trying to tell him stuff. So to be able to work out what that is, he wants to basically get himself to the point where his heart stops so he can figure out and see this little boy and then bring himself back to life. That's really dangerous. Don't recommend. But this book actually reminded me of the movie Flatliners. Don't know if you've ever seen it. Great, like thriller horror movie. And this book very much gave those vibes. And I actually think it's like quite a unique premise for a book. Like, I feel like I haven't read a thriller book with that premise before. And I bloody loved it. This book is so good. If you're a fan of John Marrs, like John Marrs' other works, you are going to love this book. So this is one you absolutely need to be pre-ordering. Go pause this video and do it. Another one of my favourite authors, My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I have read every single book that Alice Feeney currently has published. I absolutely love her. And I can't believe I'm about to show you this, but I've got a bloody arc of it. I know. Honestly, this came when I was on my honeymoon and I got my mother-in-law to open the parcel just to check it actually was this, because I was so excited. I was like, can you post it to Santorini? Or it's on this month's TBR, so I'll definitely be letting you know. Actually, I was so lucky that I received an arc of Beautiful Ugly in 2024. The book came out in January 2025. And it was my best book of 2024. So Alice Feeney, no pressure, but I'm just letting you know that I've got high hopes. Our main character in this book is a woman called Eden. Eden returns home one day, puts her key in the door, and it doesn't fit. A woman comes to the door who looks exactly like her and is like, this isn't your house. What are you doing here? And she also says she's married to her husband. Oh my God, can you imagine? We also then get another timeline which follows a college student that has just inherited this very house that the woman tried to get into and the key didn't work, and starts to find a clinic that predicts people's death. So how are these stories going to be connected? That sounds good, doesn't it? Oh, I'm so intrigued. I can't wait to read it. I literally can't wait to read it. It also came with this, and it says we wish you a happy death day. And it says, everybody knows their birthday. If you could know your death day, would you want to? I'm so intrigued, literally so intrigued. And it actually says that this has been optioned for a major Hollywood film a year before it even got published. That's incredible. Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. Now, I think First Lie Wins was Ashley Elston's debut novel last year, and it was huge because it was a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. I read it and I liked the writing, but I didn't like the plot because it focuses on a con woman trope, and I hate that plot point. I can't stand it. It's my worst. I'm not about it. But like I said, I really enjoyed the writing, so I'm really intrigued to see what Ashley Elston comes with next, and hopefully I might get on with the plot of this one a bit more because it does sound fun. Two women called Aubrey and Camille agree to swap identities for 12 hours so Camille can follow her husband because she thinks he's doing the dirty on her. But then her bloody husband gets murdered. So they are obviously then asked to provide alibis, and only one of them has an alibi. As the investigators start digging, their scheme unravels. And let's be real, that's not going to look good on them at all, is it? I keep on saying I'm going to read more Simone St. James, and I don't know why I haven't. I read Murder Road, which I actually think was Simone St. James's last release, and I did enjoy it. So I am excited for this. It's called A Box Full of Darkness. But the reason I say that is because I've got about 3 other books on my TBR that I've not gone to. I'm just a victim of new releases. I get so excited by new releases that I then forget about all of the other books that are in the background. Let me know if you're the same. 18 years ago, the Esme family had to flee their family home because one of their little brothers disappeared and nobody ever found out what happened to him. 18 years later, they get a letter from the little boy saying, you need to return to the family home. And in doing so, they're going to find out what actually happened to him. Simone St. James writes paranormal books, so I have no doubt that this is going to be any different. I don't mind a paranormal book if I go into it knowing that's a paranormal book. But when it's used as a twist, I think it's a cop-out. I literally hate it. I've actually just read a book by Jessie Garcia in my honeymoon reading vlog. It was called The Business Trip. And if you've watched that vlog, you would have seen how excited I was at the first 50%. Like, I was obsessed. I wanted to read it so bad to find out what was going on. And then I hated the second half. So obviously, I'm going to give her a second chance. I will never read one book from an author and then write them off, because even some of my favorite authors, I've ended up not liking some of their books. You can't win them all. The Fairweather Friend follows a girl called Faith. Faith is a TV weather person, meteorologist, is that what they're called? And she is known as the Fairweather Friend. Anyway, one day during a lunch break, she goes missing and then her body is found. And then the blurb says, as the police are investigating, secrets among colleagues and family start to surface, and it's multiple point of view. I love a multiple point of view book. I think it keeps it so fresh, so interesting. Do you know what I mean? You wanting to keep reading, because there's always perspectives that you prefer more and you want to get back to that. So I can usually get through them a lot quicker. So yeah, excited for it. I'm excited for all of these books. I'm going to sound like a broken record. That's why they're in this bloody video. Okay, the next book, I don't think this is a thriller, but it's by Ashley Winstead and it's called The Future Saints. Me and Ashley Winstead, we're not besties. I absolutely loved The Last Housewife by this author. One of my favourite thriller books. And I think every time I pick up an Ashley Winstead book, I'm chasing the feeling that book gave me. And I'm not getting it. I haven't got it since that book. And I actually gave her last book 1 star. But the reason that this one has intrigued me so much, and like I said, I don't think it is a thriller, is because it's being compared to Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six. I like books which follow music, celebrity culture, and this sounds like what this is going to be. This book follows a record producer who meets the band, The Future Saints. They are been a bit of a flop lately. All their music isn't doing very well. So he says, listen, I'm going to give you one last chance. I'm going to wager everything I've got. We're going to do a tour and we're going to do an album and we're going to make you hot again. They end up going rival and they end up doing this record producer dirty. They're bye, we got what we wanted. See you later, mate. And the book says it's going to deal with themes of grief and the highs and lows of the music industry and celebrity culture and things like that. They do really interest me. I'm hoping it's going to be mixed media. That would make me really happy. Guys, Frida McFadden's out with probably a 5th book of the year by the time that this one comes out in January, because that's how fast she writes her books, or allegedly writes her books. Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden. I'm not a Frida McFadden hater. Who told you that? Our main character is called Debbie, would you believe it? And she is a columnist in a magazine that gives advice to people who write in. Dear Debbie, please help me. And a lot of the time, they are from wives whose husbands aren't treating them very well. Debbie's marriage is also not in a very good place. And she decides, I'm going to enact some revenge on all of these men that are not treating these women very nicely. If that wasn't by Frida McFadden, I would be yeah, can't wait for that. But I don't know, guys, I'm just so frustrated every time I read her books, but am I going to read it anyway? Yeah, I probably am. Something I'm just finding repeatedly, with her books is the twists just don't make any sense. And that annoys me. I love a wild twist. I love a shocking twist more than anybody. Just as much as anybody, not more than anybody. But they've got to make sense. Do you know what I mean? But I am intrigued, okay? God, Colleen and Frida, please don't unsubscribe. Oh. If you've got this far into the video, please subscribe. It means so much to me. That was a bad time to ask. Guys, that was just the books of January. What the hell? We're in February now. The first book that I want to speak about that's coming out in February is It's Not Her by Mary Kubica. Courtney and her family are on holiday at a little lake resort. When she hears a scream, she runs to find out what that scream is and finds her sister and brother-in-law dead. Her niece is missing, but her nephew, there's nothing wrong with him. He's absolutely fine. As Courtney and the police investigate, dark secrets come to light about this lake resort and the small town that it's set in. This is one I will definitely pick up. I I've loved a lot of Mary Kubica's books, and I'm so excited to read more from her. She's Not Sorry was her last release. I was just seeing if I could find it on the bookshelf. It's literally right up the top. You can't see it. But that one was so good. So twisty. Blew me away. Jenny Godfrey is the author of The List of Suspicious Things, which was a book that kind of like blew up. I want to say like towards the end of last year and this year. Her next book is called The Barbecue at Number 9. I actually didn't get on with The List of Suspicious Things, but I know that's a very unpopular opinion. Like, so many people did read this and love it. And like I said, I'm always willing to give second chances and third and fourth. This is set in 1985. I love a nostalgic setting. I love books that are set in like the 80s and 90s. And this follows a family who live in like a little close-knit neighborhood, and they're planning on having like a street party with a barbecue. But somebody uninvited turns up to the party, and they have brought with them not a plate of food, but lots of the neighbors' secrets that are about to be revealed. I think this is going to be like more of a light-hearted thriller, because it does say like it deals with humor and stuff as well, which I do like a bit of humour in my books, to be honest. Tyler Green Will Never Be Free by Nikki French. Nikki French is a husband and wife writing duo. I always think that's so cool. In this book, we meet Tyler Green. Tyler Green has just spent 12 years in prison for the murder of one of his university friends. He's finally got out of prison, and he reconnects with his friends from university who were there on the night of that tragedy. And then another one of them is going to end up dead. So automatically, they're like, not again. Tyler's like, is this going to be put on me? Like, is it a bit suspicious that as soon as he gets out of prison, another one of the group is dead? Like, is it him, or is somebody pinning it on him? Guys, I'm so excited for this one. The Killing Time by Ellie Griffiths. I recently spoke about Ellie Griffiths, The Frozen People, in my last video, actually, which was book 1 of a new series. This is book 2. I loved The Frozen People. I didn't rate it very highly when I read it, but like it's one of those books that has just stayed with me. And like I couldn't wait for book 2, because I think book 1 was the perfect setup for book 2 and how the series is going to develop. Because in book 1, we meet a group of detectives that solve cases that are so cold they're basically frozen, because they can time travel. They can time travel back to whenever that crime took place and solve it. Like, so it's a thriller book, it's a police procedural with a bit of magical realism, and they go back to the Victorian era, and it's just so good. So yeah, this is book 2. Go and read The Frozen People like now, so you can be ready for book 2 and read it with me. B.A. Paris has got a new book that's coming out, and it's called When I Kill You. That's a cool title, isn't it? I like the title of that book. Our main character, called Nell, thinks she's being stalked. She thinks somebody is watching her. She's getting like weird phone calls where nobody's speaking on the other end. And then she receives an anonymous bouquet of flowers. She starts to think that this stalker might know her secret from 14 years previously, where she's seen a girl get into a car and drive away and was never seen again. And Nell, ever since then, has become obsessed with trying to find out who the murderer was. So Nell now thinks that the person that she's been trying to stalk is now stalking her back. I do quite like the stalking trope, to be honest. I feel like not a lot of like thriller books do that, but I do quite like the stalker trope. Another one that I literally can't contain my excitement for is Caller Unknown by Gillian McAllister. Gillian McAllister is another one of my favourite authors. And interestingly, this book is set in Texas. So we meet our mother and daughter duo called Simone and Lucy. Lucy's about to leave home. So they have gone on a road trip through America, and they are driving through Texas, like as like one last hurrah before Lucy leaves home. Simone wakes up and finds that Lucy is gone. And in the place of Lucy is Lucy's phone with a recorded message saying like, don't contact the police, we've got your daughter. If you want her back, this is what you've got to do. Like, that's high stakes, isn't it? High stakes straight away. God, like, I do always think, like, what would you actually do if you were in that position? Like, not, please, never put me in that position. But, like, would you still contact the police? I don't know. Or, like, because it never works out well, does it? Like, if you just follow the kidnapper's demands. So, like, yeah, moral dilemma. Another book that I can't believe that I'm so lucky to have an arc of is Nowhere Burning by Catriona Ward. This came the other day and I was like, oh. I actually spoke to the publishers about it when I was at Harrogate Crime and Thriller Festival, and they said to me like, Michaela, you're going to love this book because I think it's giving cults. What do I love, guys? Fucking cults. This book is given Michael Jackson's Neverland because our two main characters, the book starts out and they are running away from home. Like they haven't got a good life. So like, right, we're going to run away. And there's this rumor of an infamous movie star's home where he committed loads of crimes. And now a group of children like have moved themselves in, like feral children, if you will. Like when they get there, they're not welcomed and they find out some pretty dark stuff is going on in this ranch. And like, if you've never read a book by Catriona Ward, her books are weird, like really, really weird, like crazy twists, like books that really make you think. And I feel like this is going to be no different with that, but I'm so excited to find out like what it actually is. Okay, that's February. We're going into March now. And the first one is Strangers in the Villa by Robin Hardin. I feel like this book blurb is giving summer. I think despite the fact that this is coming out in March, I think I may save it for summertime because we meet a married couple who have rented a hilltop villa in Australia. And for some reason, they've invited two strangers to join them. Like, why would you do that? Me and Amy are just like recluses. We'd be like, you're not coming in, sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry. It's not Australia. It's Andalusia in Spain. Like, how the hell did I confuse Andalusia with Australia? But sure, it's in Spain. But as secrets, betrayal, and desire simmer in the villa, not all of them are going to make it out alive. Juicy gossip. Robin Hardin's books are usually quite hard to get hold of in the UK, so I wonder if this one is going to be like traditionally published like in the UK, because usually you have to get them shipped from America. It was a whole ordeal when I was trying to get The Drowning Woman. Guys, I promise I'm not showing off, but this is another one that I've also got an arc of. It's called How to Get Away with Murder by Rebecca Phillipson. This is one I actually got at Harrogate Crime and Thriller Festival, and it's the author's debut novel, and hearing her talk about it made me so excited. For all my true crime lovers, this one's for you, because we follow our main character called Denver Brady. He is a serial killer, like the world's best serial killer, and he is so confident that he's never going to get caught that he has written a book called How to Get Away with Murder. Obviously, he's not written it under like his real name. Do you know what I mean? He's written it under like a pseudonym. And the police are like, oh, no, you didn't. Like, you're making us look like idiots. We need to catch this guy. I'm hoping that the book is going to be like the book within a book trope. So like we get snippets of like how to get away with murder, as we also get the police investigation. I've seen so many of my friends read this and give it 5 stars. If you're wondering why I haven't read it yet, like all these arcs that I'm showing you, it's because I like to read them like a month or 2 before they come out. So like they're fresh in my memory. So like I can tell you all about them and tell you whether they're worth your time or not. I'm not just hoarding arcs, I promise. The next book is called I Spy by C.M. Ewan. And the blurb for this book is a bit vague because it says that our main character and his daughter are on the train to Paris when his 4-year-old daughter turns around and says, look, Daddy, that's a bad man. And he's carrying a very suspicious suitcase. And obviously they're stuck on the Eurostar that's going to Paris. And Mark has 3 hours to save his family and hide his past secrets. Like, how is that going to be linked to this guy, the bad guy that's on the train? I say it all the time, but I do love a train setting. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm a bit of like a plane and train geek, I think. Like, yeah. Megan Lally has a new book coming out and it's called What We Did to Survive. I know so many of you guys love Megan Lally and are going to be excited for this one. Me too. 4 friends have gone on holiday to Mexico. When they get there, they meet a really rich boy and he's like, hey, do you want to come on my yacht? Except there's a storm coming in. As they're getting on the boat, they are the only people that are actually leaving the marina and they're thinking, I don't know if this is safe. Like, we're literally going out to sea while a storm is coming in. And then I'm guessing that it's all going to kick off and somebody's probably going to end up dead. And they've got to survive this storm whilst out at sea. That's an isolated setting, isn't it? Love it. Okay, guys, we're in the final few books. And I think these are the most exciting. Potentially. Like, if I was to rank them, these would probably be like in there with the ones I'm most excited for. The first one is It's Not What You Think by Claire McIntosh. I will do anything to get my hands on an arc of this book. Like, I'm getting so much FOMO. I've seen so many people reading this book. Like, people are reading it on NetGalley. I even messaged Claire McIntosh, or like I commented on one of her posts, and she's like, oh yeah, like it's invite only. And I'm like, what do I need to do to get an invite? Please. Because I bloody love Claire McIntosh, like so much. And she has said that this is her best, twistiest thriller that she's ever wrote. Like, the whole marketing campaign for this book, I'm obsessed. Our main character, Nadika, is married to a guy called Jamie, and she thinks he's cheating on her. She thinks he's up to no good. Then when she gets home, she's about to confront him, and she finds her house is a crime scene, and Jamie is dead. And then the tagline of this book is, the readers might think they know what's going on, but it's not what they think. Consider me like level 10,000 intrigued. I actually spoke about Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth in a video a couple of months ago when I was doing like my last quarter of the year book releases, because I was getting conflicting information on when this book was actually coming out. Anyway, I've got the proper date now, so we're going to include it in here. I love Sally Hepworth. I think Sally Hepworth is an incredible, like, her books are like thriller, but I would say they're more like character studies of like complex characters, very much like Liz Nugent. And I love that. I'm also really obsessed with the green cover of this. I've seen a red one floating around and I don't like that. So when I get my hands on this, it's going to be the green cover. Just letting you know. Which one do you prefer? Our main character in this book is called Mabel, and she is an 81-year-old woman that lives a quiet little life in this quiet little neighborhood. But nobody would suspect that she's a murderer, because nobody expects the little old women, do they? That's all I need to know. I am sold. Take my money. I'm very easily pleased. Can you tell? I just don't know what it is. Like, I love books like about older people. Like, I don't know. Even when they're murderers. Love it. Oh my God. Okay. This one's definitely not a thriller, but I had to include it. We're going to finish on a thriller. This is the last but one. We Burn So Bright by TJ Klune. TJ Klune is one of my favorite like non-thriller authors. He typically writes like sci-fi cozy fantasy, like about gay people. And I mean, yeah, I'm not a fantasy lover. I'm not really a sci-fi lover, but something about TJ Klune, like, he just warms my heart. This is set in a world where it's about to end. There's a big black ball meteor. It's coming to the earth and they haven't got very long left to live. So two older gay men set on a journey with their dog to settle unfinished business before they're about to be dead. Oh, I know this book's going to break my heart. I just know. I can feel it already. I need to read you like the tagline for this book, because I swear like it nearly broke my heart when I read it. Where is it? It says, along the way, they reflect on their decades-long love story, encounter people choosing how to spend their final days, and celebrate the messy beauty of life. I could cry right now. Ever since I've got married, I've become really emotional. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, the last book is called Buyer Beware by Catherine Ryan Howard. There's no blurb for this book, not that I can find anyway, but I love Catherine Ryan Howard, and I love all things to do with property and estate agents. Like, you will catch me on Rightmove every single day looking at like houses that I absolutely cannot afford. If you're from the UK, you'll know what location is. It's my favourite TV show. Americans, Canadians, overseas friends, look it up. It's the best TV show in the entire world. So I'm hoping that Buyer Beware by Catherine Ryan Howard is going to give me exactly that. So we're finishing on a high. I can't tell you anything about the book, but so excited. And that's it, guys. They are a few sneak peeks into the books that are coming out in 2026. Have no fear. As more books get announced, I will be doing like recap videos. I will do them quarterly next year as I did this year. But I just wanted to like give us something to like look forward to, you know, for 2026. Let me know what book you're most excited for. Thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video. I appreciate you. If you love thriller books, it would mean so much if you could hit the subscribe button and stick around. And I'll see you next time.